raising the bar, breaking ground.
How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to This and That. I'm your host, Sander, where we're talking about this, that, and everything in between. Appreciate you guys' patience for the day. You know, we have had an interesting day because the song just went live. So you'll be proud to know that we have a whole album out there right now. So it's worth getting into, worth digging your toe into. All of the tracks, there's 5 tracks on the song. It's amazing. It's amazing. High fives all the way around for the band that made the Higher Ground intro and the outro, and we've got us a WrestleMania theme song. So if we ever end up walking on to Raw or SmackDown, you know that when this podcast shows up, we're going to be rocking the rock. So that's what do you call that? Inspiration, admiration, something to that effect. Definitely want to put that on. So anyway, I told you guys that the show must go on. The sun doesn't rise without us doing at least one podcast every day of the week. So we are extremely late because we're rolling right into midnight right now. But I want to thank you guys for coming to the podcast. Thank you guys for showing support. We are, let's see. Yeah, we got it. We got it. There it is. Had to make sure because I was like, they stunting. Okay. Make sure that you guys like and subscribe. Make sure that you guys try your best to take a look at that membership if you guys like the information that we're providing to you. What happened to the keyboard? I don't even know. I tell you what, keyboard's not lit. We had to restart the drivers on the laptop today, so nothing's looking the way it was supposed to look on the interface. So I'm like, well, I only have to do a couple points and clicks, so I'll deal with it after the fact. I think I have to do like function light, something like that. Either way, enough small talk. We are definitely live 7 nights a week, so make sure that you guys check us out every day. Keep a lookout for us. If you have not done it yet, subscribe to the YouTube channel, even if you subscribe to Twitch and or Twitter, because TikTok is permanently banned from the United States as it stands. So make sure that you guys put your efforts into getting that push notification from YouTube. That way, whenever we get started, you guys will know that we're live, and then you'll be able to jump in and see what we got going on. Beyond that, since we've already got our own album, you want to take a look at that album. I will be putting information into the links after every live or during every live, before every live, to let you guys know where the tracks are for the show. We'll probably run some non-monetizable song tracks for the or videos for the tracks, so that you can kind of hear the full-length songs on our channel. So take a look at them before and after the show. We'll probably have some little 20-second snippets because YouTube monetization, that's what took us so long. I had to take the song off of all of my YouTube videos because we just went live, and the copyrights, we're funded off of it, but the copyrights are towards somebody else, so we're not able to put the song up there. So that kind of hurt us as far as that's concerned. But you know, hey, I do believe they got us set up with shared content on YouTube, and by doing so, that will potentially give us the ability to receive revenue share from that. So it'll work itself out. One way or another, though, we're looking at building a brand, and that's part of what we talk about on this podcast, is making yourself a walking business. Everything that you do is dedicated to what you're trying to accomplish, and you want to see to it that you put all the right steps in all the right places so that you can get the things done that you want to get done, which also leads to today's show about investing in your relationships to improve your love life, because if you are distracted with relationships, you cannot focus on your own personal success. It'll interfere with your education. It'll interfere with your job. It'll interfere with your business deals because you are distracted by what's going on in your personal life. So if you have a healthy love life, you will be able to master having a healthy business life. They play off of one another. Having a healthy business life where you're not burning yourself out 100% of the time can give you more ability to have a healthier personal life, which means that in order to get the balance, you got to start creating balance somewhere. As a result, I decided that today would be a good day for us to talk about investing into the relationships. Now, I kind of mentioned some of this stuff yesterday, but today we're going to dive a little bit deeper into the challenge of figuring out if you can actually invest in boosting up your love life and see what happens there. Now, this is a different mentality from yesterday, because yesterday we were just talking about focusing on your partner and thinking about your partner, considering your partner. But today we're taking it from a different perspective, which is the perspective that I have said plenty of times before, that instead of ladies thinking about it being an oppressive situation to care for their boyfriends and their husbands, that they should rethink their position as if they were investing in a stock option, because the dividends that they receive from their man is the profits from the investment. So whatever effort that you have to put into your man, whether it is a physical effort, financial effort, or obedience, that is the cost of doing business so that you can get what you want out of your man. And when I utilize that analogy, not a lot of people thought that when we think of investing, and we often think of stocks, bonds, and other financial instruments, we never thought that when I told you that investing, it isn't just about growing your money, it's also about growing your love life. So as you've heard, investing in your love life is heavily important. So let's dig into this today. We're going to explore these unique concepts that I have derived for you guys and see if it's possible for you guys to put this all together and adopting this into your relationships, adopting this investment mindset into your relationships. So traditionally, relationships can be tough, and it's not a secret that many of us struggle with communication issues, intimacy problems, and disagreements that seem to come out of absolutely nowhere. But what if we look at these challenges as investments that need attention? Think about it. Just like a diversified portfolio, a healthy relationship requires attention to differentiate aspects from emotional connections to conflict resolution. And just as a smart investor would identify areas of their portfolio that need improvement, we can identify areas in the relationship that needs a little TLC. When we start to see our relationship as an investment, we begin to understand that every effort we put into nurturing and growing them is a deposit into the love account. So we start to prioritize communication, intimacy, and emotional connection, and we begin to see our partners as teammates working towards a common goal. But it's not just about the hard work. It's also about the intentionality behind it. Just as an investor would research and analyze their investments, we can research and analyze our relationships to identify areas for improvement and growth. When you start investing in emotional investments, you start looking at understanding love languages, which is recognizing and acting on your partner's love language, not your own, which can significantly improve communication and emotional connection. This investment is understanding each other's fosters of intimacy and appreciation, which also goes to the magnitude where you might perform an action that reflects your own personal love language. But if and then your partner may not receive that. as their love language. You might feel rejected from the effort that you put into reflecting your own personal love language on somebody else. But the fact is that that is not that person's love language. So when you think of all the ways that you do what you do to show your love language to someone else, if you think about what they receive as a love language, you actually could put less effort into expressing your love for the other person by finding out how they feel love, how they receive, because it's not about the deliverer. You have to remember, a lot like sending messages back and forward, the message is about the receiver of the message, receiving, accepting, and understanding the message. It's not about the deliverer that is creating and manifesting and sending out the message. So make sure that you take into account the person that's supposed to be receiving the message. Now, quality time, that's going to be another investment. Scheduling dedicated time for each other, similar to how one would allocate funds for investments, can deepen your bond. Regular date nights or shared activities help maintain closeness and build memories, which means that there's going to be a certain time of day, a certain day out of the week that you are definitely not going to commit to anything other than your partner. By doing this, you eliminate the ability to abandon or forget about the partner that is involved in a relationship with you. Even if they decide that they're going to call you on your day off, or if in the event that you had too many things to do this day, even though there's nothing scheduled during this day you can't book anything else because you've already got something more important than anything else in the world that you're supposed to be dealing with. And if that's nothing more than laying next to one another watching Netflix, eating popcorn or something, the fact is that you guys take time out of your day to be around each other. Specifically, if you have different schedules, you want to make sure that you work your schedules out with your boss where you have at least one day out of the week where you're both off at the same time. You're both in the same place at the same time. Because long distance relationships don't work. They don't work. They're possible to sustain for the extremely dedicated individuals, but the average person, long relationship is not going to work. The absence only makes a heart grow fonder in short intervals, a few months, maybe. Some people are strong enough to hold out for a year or so, but beyond that, you start looking at it's not going to work out. The detachment starts to happen, and then prioritizing your own personal life. Notice how we don't communicate with people on social media. Like if we have something better to do than log into the app, we're not going to respond. A conversation could go dead for a few days to a few weeks. You could forget to respond to that person. Then the conversation just drops, and then you got to start up a whole nother conversation. The fact is that if you don't dedicate time to your partner, where your partner is going to get your undivided attention, where you're not distracted by video games or text messages or anything like that, then you're not going to see that improvement in your relationships. What's going on, Rudorus? It's good to see you again, man. We're throwing a podcast up all hours of the night right now. Our normal time is we pushed our normal time back 1 hour, but we've been dealing with all kinds of stuff with the internet. We've been dealing with the soundtrack that we just dropped. We had to go back and take all of the songs out of the content because YouTube didn't allow the videos to be monetized while we had the full length song on there. So I tried reducing it to about 20 seconds for each song and see if they're going to let us stay monetized today. Hopefully they do. If they do not, then we're going to have to go back to the old soundtrack. I still got that one on deck. I just have to re-upload it and reset it because there was a track that we was using for the opening segments. I think it ran like 18 seconds in the beginning and 18 seconds on the back end. We're probably going to have to lean back on that one because our full lengths didn't work. I got to get some information, but I know there's going to be some links after today's show, before tomorrow's show, on all of the lives and all of the videos that will have the song on there. So if you want to take a look at the song and listen to it, and then you'll be able to go probably sample it and even potentially purchase it so that you can add it to your iTunes store, add it to your soundtrack. It's definitely a very motivational and inspirational set. They've got five different variations of the song, or four different variations of the song, and one other additional song. They told me that there's a lot of places like Pandora, YouTube's gonna have it, which is why YouTube made me take it down. Let's see, Amazon is gonna have it, and then I think Shopify, SoundCloud, and TuneTo is some of the ones that I'm familiar with. But from what I hear, they're putting it everywhere. So I do believe, if I remember correctly, they said that the title of the song was going to be the title of the show. So you should be able to go somewhere and check out. Let's double check that. I could tell you guys right now because I was just talking to the artist a couple of days ago, or actually yesterday, because technically a couple of days ago would have been yesterday. The track is This and That, and it has This, That, Everything in Between. So you'll be able to find that. It has a song Higher Ground, the show intro Higher Ground, the outro, which is a different version of the same Higher Ground, Elevation, Protocol, and Non-Negotiables, which is the names of the songs. And you should be able to see that somewhere. And like I said, as soon as I get the hot links to the songs, I should be able to put those links into the podcast where you can go to those songs, play those songs, and pick those songs up. I do have the names of the songs in the description of the show, so they're there even if the song didn't run on the show today. The names of the song should be there, so you'd be able to see that name, copy it, paste it into YouTube, and potentially find a version of the song to be able to listen to so that you can see what it's like. Then you can come back and tell me how awesome it is. So because since YouTube just sent me copyright information, that means that YouTube's got a copy of it. So that means that it should be playing somewhere. So you should be able to search for it. And it's incredible. I was blown away when I heard it. I was sitting there listening to the shortest song is I think 3 minutes and 37 seconds. So they're like old school lengths, not like the stuff that we're dealing with these days. And then the longest song is 4 minutes long. So I strongly encourage you guys to take a look at that, because it's like a motivational, inspirational kind of thing. And I feel like and it's more like a rock metal kind of scenario. So some people like it, some people might not, but I know that I liked it, and I listen to all music, so I liked it. And I was sitting over here thinking like, oh man, I could put this on in the background, get some lights going, have some smoke, maybe some pyros, and just be the next Bobby Lashley and just just so I was actually very excited about it. But definitely take a look at it, because I know you guys will love that. Are you out there still knocking it back with chess games? You still out there putting it down and keeping everything where it needs to be? Yeah, maintaining your 2000. I don't understand how. I mean, I used to play chess a lot, but then I stopped for a while. I don't understand how people are able to sit there and maintain that 2000, 3000, 5000 score, that undefeated streak. Like, I can't do it. I have tried, but I probably level off somewhere around 1400. Not as good as I used to be. You get out of practice. I'm a lot like Vegeta when it comes down to playing chess. So back to our relationship topics. When you invest in communication, you have open conversations. Just as you would discussing financial goals with an investment partner, you have open discussions about feelings, expectations, and challenges in a relationship, which is very crucial. this transparency, this is the type of transparency you're supposed to have in your relationship, not this full disclosure of every little activity that you do. This isn't a debrief from the military. This isn't, first 48. You're not under interrogation. The fact is that this type of transparency is a type of transparency that can prevent misunderstandings and build stronger levels of trust. I mean, of course, disclosing your whereabouts within reason, your intentions as to what you're doing, going there, and why and how long you're going to be there could potentially give your partner peace of mind, which prevents your partner from having personal concerns. But they shouldn't have personal concerns about trust. They should have mainly personal concerns about your safety, because they don't want you to end up somewhere and then something bad happens to you and you never make it home. So if their concerns are not about your individual safety, the lack of trust, they can really go get them some therapy and kind of figure that part out, because it's not your responsibility to fix their insecurities. It's your responsibility not to make it worse. And what I mean by not making worse, not doing things unnecessarily that would negatively impact their ability to trust you further. Now, conflict resolution is also a communication investment tool, where investing time in learning conflict resolution techniques that can help couples navigate disagreements more effectively, learning to heather relationship dynamics. And when you invest in certain areas like practical investments, such as couple therapy, you think that you're in a good relationship, you don't need couples therapy, but you sometimes need an intermediary, and your girlfriend's best friend is not the one to do it, because there's going to be some bias there. Not to mention, you don't want to project into your social groups that your relationship has struggles, because people will take advantage of that. Not to mention that people will change their perceptions of you. If you have issues that requires a third party intermediary, it requires you guys to get couples therapy. Even in the church, under the eyes of the Lord, you have therapy with the pastor or the deacon, or the priest of the church, where they give you advice to help you guys work out your issues in your relationship, so that you guys can kind of see things from a different perspective. Because a lot of the times we have an expectation, and then once we reach a certain expectation that negatively impacts the other person's agenda, we typically stand on that expectation regardless of how that affects somebody else. So a lot of the times there is a requirement for compromise, but it is unreasonable and unfair to ask or demand for compromise when you are not willing to compromise. And a compromise is not all for one person and nothing for the other. You must give up something in order to get something else. And that also means that if that person needs time with you, you must give up some time with them so that you can do whatever else that you wanted to do, as long as it's appropriate for your relationship and doesn't disrespect the relationship or your partner or yourself. So couples therapy allows you guys to engage in therapy, which can be seen as an investment in a relationship's future. And research shows that couples who attend therapy often experience significant improvements in their connection and satisfaction. Shared responsibilities is going to be another really good investment. When you're investing in shared services like house cleaning or babysitting, this can reduce stress and allow couples to focus more on their relationship rather than daily chores. Now, that does not mean, ladies, that just because you do primarily cook and clean, that now you can drop the hammer and make the boyfriend or the husband go in there and do the dishes twice a week or anything like that. What that means is that if one person, male or female, is free and available to knock something out, instead of them just leaving it there for the other person to do, that they can try their best to get some of that stuff done. So if you guys packed if there's a big dinner that was made, and you decided to use up a lot of dishes to make dinner. The person who's eating the dinner should be able to at least put the dishes in the dishwasher, most of the dishes in the dishwasher. And then the ones that have to soak, the other person can come and wash those dishes. Now, I've known that when it comes down to dishwashing, because I have a dishwasher, I've had relationships where one of us will put the stuff into the dishwasher, the other person would start the machine. And whoever gets up first would unload the dishwasher in the morning. Same thing with the laundry. One person would put the stuff into the washing machine. One person would take it out of the washing machine, put it into the dryer. Whoever gets back to the house first after it comes out of the dryer takes it out of the dryer. Then, once it gets into the house, we start working on trying to get the clothes put away. But because we're not overloading a machine, it doesn't have a lot of clothes. So it should only take 5 or 10 minutes to put the clothes away. But if you and your partner are putting away the laundry, then it should only take 5 minutes to put the clothes away because it's not that much stuff. We did laundry every other day. We did dishes every day, so it wasn't a lot of stuff that needed to be put away, and it wasn't a lot of stuff that needed to be cleaned. When it comes down to not making unnecessary messes so that there isn't so much stuff to clean up in the house, that's a way to aid in your partner's ability to keep the house up. So if your partner scrubs some stuff down, if you make a little bit of mess, you don't leave it there. You kind of clean that up a little bit. And then, your partner, when they come back through and buff stuff, they don't have additional mess after they've just cleaned. If you recognize that you made a mistake, as soon as you make that, you touch that up a little bit so that whatever effort that your partner put into the condition of the house is maintained. The same way when you put effort into fixing your car at the mechanic shop, that you keep the car up. You don't just run it back to the mechanic and say, oh, do this again, do that again. No. Once they take care of something, it is taken care of. When you're investing in financial decisions now, this one is going to be a little bit more of a daunting task. Discussing finances openly can prevent conflict over money. It can change the perception of an individual's desires to spend money, though, because if you have more money than the person that's listening to the conversation, then you're probably going to be in a situation where this person is going to assume you can afford to do things that you didn't want to do. Now, it is common, and it happens often in relationships where tension occurs in relationships. One of these reasons is because when it comes to finances, some individuals, usually females, that expect to have the boyfriend or the husband pay for them because it's the man's job to do so. Those are the types of people that, if they know that there's extra money there, they feel like they have the right to go and spend it. And having a communication about finances with your partner so that they understand the financial goals, understanding that while there is extra money there, it is not available for frivolous spending, gives that person the understanding that you have no intentions of wasting your money on that. So if you're trying to build a portfolio, if you're trying to invest in a business, if you're trying to expand your financial success, in order for you to do that, you must first be clear with your partner as to what you will and will not be investing in. And then whatever money is left over that can be allocated as spending money, because keep in mind, you're not sitting here just going from paycheck to paycheck while dumping the other 80% of your money into stocks and bonds. You're going to be able to have some type of spending money, but typically it is expected to have somewhere between 5 and 10% of your income be spending money. But the majority of the money and the more of it that you spend on your investments, the more money you have to get back off of your investments, if that makes sense. So understanding each other's financial goals and risk tolerances is essential for harmony, which also means if in the event that she wants to go shopping and it's not in your budget, she needs to understand that if I'm taking you to the mall with your money. I'll put gas in my car and take you to the car with your money. But when you start buying stuff, you're looking at the price that's coming out of your pocket. That I will not be offsetting at a later date and time because you can't afford something different because you bought something that you shouldn't have bought today. If you can't afford something different down the line, you're going to have to bring this item back to the store, get your money back, and go and pay for whatever it is that you needed to pay for, because the budget is set for certain things. Now, granted, those boyfriends and husbands that do allocate small allowances every month to their girlfriends, look, once I give you whatever this amount is, that's all you're getting for the month. So, I mean, if you don't learn how to save like the kids used to learn how to save when they were getting allowances from mommy and daddy, you're just going to have to do without. Education on investing. Learning about investing together can strengthen your partnership by aligning financial goals and strategies, fostering teamwork, which also means that if she understands where you're going with this, when you teach a woman what Bitcoin is and the value of a Bitcoin, and then you ask her, would she prefer $100 in cash or the value of $70, $80, $90,000 Bitcoin that can be converted into cash, she would be more inclined to say, oh, it's not just a single coin, it is a large quantity of capital that is represented by a coin. That's like having $1 million coin. Just because it's coin, it doesn't mean that it's insignificant to the dollar. Now, daily affirmations. When you're investing in small gestures, these things matter because daily affirmations is one of those small acts of kindness or expressions of love, such as compliments or thoughtful messages. I've told you this before. You can give your partner a compliment first thing in the morning. You can give your partner a compliment in the middle of the day. You can give your partner a compliment when you get home. You can leave notes around the house and in their work clothes and in their special attire, hang it up on the refrigerator, put it on their lunch, put it in their little lunch bag. You can leave messages in their car. If you guys have separate cars, you can leave notes and messages in their cars. Like what I used to do is I used to come home from work in the middle of the night and I would leave a rose on the dashboard. My partner would leave in the morning. So the rose would still be fresh and vibrant in the morning with the car smelling like flowers. Come outside and see roses in the car. And that's the kind of stuff, that little acts of kindness, where those are the safe surprises, where you're not startling your partner. You're just, letting them know that I was thinking about you. All of these things can have a cumulative positive effect on the relationship, because the more often that they know that randomly you're going to remind them that you care about them, this will build. Reminiscing together is something that we don't always talk about on the show, but this is something that's good, especially during tough times in a relationship, when you guys can think back to the positive times that you guys had in a relationship and the positive history that you had before, without dwelling on anything that stopped that behavior. You just want to go back and think about the more positive things that has happened back in the past, sharing memories about what drew you guys together or what you appreciate about one another can reinforce emotional bonds and also rejuvenate the long lost expectations in a relationship. But here's the thing. Relationships are not all one size fit all solutions. What works for one couple might not work for another couple. And I've told you this before. And that's where investing mindsets come into play. By being intentional and proactive in our relationships, meaning that you're going to see a problem and you're going to put forth effort into fixing it, ladies. That does not mean that you're going to recognize that something's not going the way you want it to go and you're just going to sit there and pout about it. It means that you're going to do something positive to fix it. If you see something leaking, you go over there and you stop the leak. You don't just watch it flood. You try your best to stop it from leaking. So if you see problems occurring, you want to put a positive, proactive approach to stopping something negative from occurring so that you can maintain a positive relationship. And this means that we can tailor our investments to fit our unique needs and goals. This does not mean that you're going to be utilizing your positive behavior patterns as a manipulation tool, where if your partner doesn't say and do what you want, you'll stop behaving a certain way. You're going to always behave positively towards your relationship, even when you're unsatisfied with your partner's behavior or decision-making process. because their behavior and their decision-making process was the behavior and decision-making process that you chose when you got into this relationship. Just because it's pissing you off today doesn't mean that that is not the person that you wanted from the beginning. So you're not supposed to change to control them to do what you want them to do. Because if you were smart about your selection, you should have chose a person that had the appropriate decision-making process and had the appropriate behavior patterns that you would prefer, which means that instead of dating that person based on their wealth and having them take you to lavish restaurants and fancy dinners, that you would have them take you somewhere that would be particularly simple and remotely quiet so that you can listen and learn from this person and give them your undivided attention and find out what kind of character this person has so that you would be able to then say, yes, this is the kind of person that I want to make decisions on my behalf. Yes, this is the type of behavior that I want to have around me when I'm cranky, when I'm tired, when I'm hungry, when I'm just waking up in the morning kind of thing. But when you have the type of person that gets on your dang nerves, it makes absolutely no sense for you to say, oh, he got enough money to give me the lifestyle that I want. I'll take his annoying behavior because it pays. No, you guys are going to be arguing until either he replaces you with somebody else or you're going to get tired and walk out. So we can identify our love languages. We can identify our attachment styles and our triggers. And we can use the information to make conscious decisions about how we want to show up in our relationship. And when you start learning triggers, ladies, it doesn't mean, oh, I want to see what it's like to get you mad. That's not how you learn a man's triggers. You either ask him what makes him mad and don't do it, or when he tells you don't do something because that will make him mad, you don't do it. Either way, whatever makes your partner unhappy, that is supposed to be the thing that you never do. When you do things that you know that your partner is not going to be happy about, you are deliberately sabotaging your own relationship, ladies. Now, I understand that fellas are inconsiderate, so they're not going to be thinking about some of the decisions that they make potentially negatively impacting their partner. But the first couple of times that they do some stuff that they know that their partner doesn't like, or find out after the fact that their partner doesn't like it, that's going to be the thing where guys are going to be the ones that want to stay committed with this woman are going to be saying, man, I can't do that because she's going to get mad about this. Or if something happens in your presence and you know that you're going to get blamed for it by your girlfriend or your wife, man, I don't want to get into an argument with her because of what you're doing kind of situation. But never in a scenario where you're trying to maintain a happy, healthy relationship do you deliberately say, you know what, I'm going to do this because I know it's going to piss her off. Like these girls these days that are deleting the guy's Madden account player and throwing their PlayStations and Xboxes into the pool and stuff just to piss this guy off. It's like, I don't know why you would do something like that, but your relationship should be over. The moment that you perform that type of action, your relationship should be over because you're showing that the thing that matters to this person, the hobby or career choice that matters to this person the most, you will negatively impact that to hurt that person because you're bitter in a relationship. That is not a positive thing to do. If you're not able to communicate in a relationship, then leave. But don't destroy this other person's life in order to get their attention. That is not a positive and healthy way to go about working out your issues in your relationship. If you want their attention when they get off the game, you communicate with them about how you need their attention. If you really want their attention, you would get on the same game with them, and then y'all can have fun together as a co-op team where y'all are working on the same team to win the game. The more you help him win, the more he's proud of you. If that's another way to bond with your partner, because guess what? If quality time is y'all being in the same place at the same time, he doesn't have to communicate with you to be expressing the love language. So you just being in the room watching him play the game will make him happy, but you will feel ignored. So if you want to get his attention, you are going to have to do something that he will be able to see. Because the same way, if a man wants to get a woman's attention, he is going to have to do something that she is going to be able to see. So what are some ways we can invest in our love lives? One way is through self-improvement. When we take the time to work on ourselves, we become better partners, better communicators, and better lovers. Another way is through date nights and intentional activities that foster connection and intimacy. We can also invest in our communication skills, learn activity, ac- learn active listening, because learning activities is one, but learning about active listening, assertiveness, and conflict resolution techniques that helps us navigate the ups and downs of the relationship. The possibilities are endless, and the returns on the investment can be life changing. Just imagine having a partner who feels seen, heard, and understood, and who sees, hears, and understands you in return. Just imagine having a relationship that's built on trust, respect, and open communication, where both partners are committed to growth and evolution. Think about this. I was just talking about this just yesterday, and you're not even going to believe this. You know how you get into a relationship and both of y'all got bad credit? You know that one of those financial discussions y'all could have is building up each other's credit. And the way you would do that is by authorized user accounts. What you could do is one of you can get a secure credit card. Add your partner on as an authorized user. Don't issue them a card though. But whenever that card reports, it reports on both of your credit scores. Then you have the other partner who didn't get the secure credit card. They can go and get one and then add the first person on. So let's say you did this where one person grabbed a $500 credit card and added both people on. Now you got now both of you got a $500 credit limit. Then let's say the other person does it. That person's got a credit card, added you on. Now y'all have $1,000 limit. That might boost your credit score up to a level where one of you can go and get you a $500 unsecured credit card. Add the other person on as an authorized user. Now y'all got a $1,500 credit limit. Then you got another person that does the same thing. They might get a little bit more, and now you might have a $2,500 credit limit. Because as your credit limits progress, all of them are going to have utilizations that are very low if you're not wasting this money. You're going to start pushing yourself further and further into the 700s. Once you start getting over the 650s, a lot of credit card companies will issue you a $250 to $750 credit card. But you only have one hit for the couple if one of you applies for a credit card, say in January, and then another one applies for a credit card, say in February, and then the first person applies for their next credit card in, say, April, and then the second person applies for their credit card in, say, May. You would have gotten 4 credit cards in 1 year and only had 2 hits on each person's credit score. Now, here's the thing. When you start talking about joint credit cards, when you have it, again, when you start turning your relationship into a business, you get yourself an LLC. Everything that you guys do, y'all do under the LLC as a partnership. Then you go and get you a business credit. If both of y'all got a 700, you get yourselves a business line of credit. You guys can be a personal guarantor on the first credit card that you get for the business. But now that the business has a line of credit, you guys can then turn around and get yourselves a bunch of unsecured credit for the business. Then the business runs its own lines of credit, and you guys can offset all of your personal debts onto your business lines of credit. But every line of credit that has your name on it, or your social security number attached to it, you guys are able to utilize those as credit boosters. Now, once you start reaching above 750, doing this method, you could end up getting $100, $200, $300,000 lines of credit. But if you've got it and you add your partner on as a authorized user, now they've got it too, which means when they go and apply for a card, they can apply for a card that gives them a higher amount, which means then they add you on. So now both of y'all got a $250,000 credit limit, or together you guys have a combined 500 credit limit, which leads you guys closer and closer and closer to that black card authorization. And the fact is that building up your credit score, where you guys would only have to each do one credit pull once every 4 months, 3 times a year, where that's not a lot of credit pulls, but it'd be 3 times a year per person. You guys would gain 6 additional lines of credit every year, until you guys reach a level where you have more credit than you have debt. And when you have more credit than you have debt, that's when you're going to be in a positive situation where you'll be able to start getting cheaper insurance, more lines of credit to utilize to buy stuff with your phone company, cheaper interest rates on your phones, potentially, cheaper mortgage rates for your house. All of this stuff benefits you if you're in a position where your credit scores are higher. So take that into a consideration when you start thinking about how financial discussions can benefit you. And I want to share a story with you real quick that illustrates the power of intentional investments in relationships. So let's say Sarah and Mike had been together for 5 years, but they were struggling to connect on an emotional level. They felt like roommates rather than romantic partners, and their intimacy was suffering as a result. And this happens in relationships a lot. They decided to invest in couples therapy where they learn how to communicate effectively, manage conflicts, and prioritize intimacy. Fast forward 6 months, and they were like new couples. They were holding hands again, laughing together, and enjoying each other's company the way they used to. The investment paid off, and they were able to rebuild their connection and strengthen their relationship. This story shows us that when we invest in our relationships, we can experience a significant return on investment. A return that's not just about avoiding divorce or reducing conflict, but about experiencing a deeper, more fulfilling love life. So, what's your takeaway from today's video? Investing in our love lives is not just about avoiding problems or overcoming challenges. It's about intentionally nurturing and growing our relationships to create a deeper, more fulfilling connection with our partners. By adopting and investing mindsets, we can prioritize our relationships, making conscious decisions about how we want to show up and experience the returns on investments that come with everything that we've put into this situation. Investing in a relationship, whether through emotional support, practical arrangements, or financial discussions, can yield significant dividends in terms of happiness, satisfaction, and longevity of partnerships. By treating your relationship as an investment that requires nurturing and attention, you can create a stronger, more fulfilling connection with your partner. I'd like to hear from you guys if you have ever invested in your love life and what did you experience as a result. You want to share your story in the comments below. And if you are new here, consider subscribing for more relationship tips and tricks. And we also have financial investments, tips and tricks. And we got a few thousand other things that happen in between those two topics. And don't forget to check out the videos that we have coming up for tomorrow or later today, because we are live 7 days a week. We're trying to find a balance for a new time slot, but we are live 7 days a week. So you will see the show or you will see the post show, because we run a new show every day of the week. And you'll be able to learn about how to build intimacy in your relationships, how to build a portfolio for your stock investments, where to put your money, and also make sure that you look at the links in the description box below that gives you more insight on some of the tracks and some of the other things that we've got going on with products, branded products for the podcast, and anything else that we promote will be linked in the descriptions box below the video. With that being said, I really appreciate you guys coming to the show. I'm going to be here tomorrow night. And what I want you guys to do is I want you guys to think about this. When I said before that, ladies, instead of focusing on your own personal success, focus on the success of your partner, because if you focus on the success of your partner, then your partner's success will become the benefits of your investment. Treating your man like a walking stock option instead of a walking ATM will give you the ability, the more you invest in him, the more you get out of him. Makes you more successful. What did I say? secondary selfishness, where your goal is to make him successful so that you can get more stuff out of him. Either way, you're making sure that he's successful. He's going to make sure you're successful. That becomes a symbiotic relationship. That's all I have for you guys for tonight. I want you guys to also, like I said before, go back and check out the new album that we got out. And we're going to start running some ads on that throughout the podcast so that you guys can see what that looks like. Beyond that, ladies, as long as the situation doesn't make sense, I'm going to keep asking you ladies to make it make sense. So ladies, please make it make sense. And for the fellas, I really appreciate you guys coming to the podcast. Without you guys, we wouldn't know where we would be at. So definitely want to give a special shout out to, Max Opposer, Ruderus, Reese, Liberty Twitcher. We had Mr. Pibbs for a while, Light Blue, Red Void, Omni 81. We've got a laundry list of individuals. Silly Emma, Kyle. I don't know why Kyle. We got everybody up there. Really appreciate you guys for the things that you do for the podcast, showing up and showing out. Make sure that you share the podcast with people that you know that'll like it and people that you know that'll argue against it so that they can put their 2 cents in the comment section. If you guys are ever watching the podcast and you like what you see, hear, or learn from the podcast, always remember that you guys can throw something at us during the live podcast to aid us in our ability to improve, because we are trying to improve. It looks like today we didn't really have an internet problem, which I guess is a plus. Once we get over that hurdle, we are in a positive scenario where all we got to do now is just run it. We still have a little bit of lag, I've noticed, during the peak times of the day, but if we air it a little bit later, we'll have less lag. So that's one of the things we're trying to iron out. Anyway, thank you, fellas, for joining the show. Thank you for coming to This and That. I'm your host, Xander, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. And I'll see you guys tomorrow night.